Hello and welcome to the Ellis Clark Train series of how-to videos, where today we're going to go through the Drophead Buckeye coupling, how it works, how to make it work even better when it's brand new, and how to fit it to some of our coaches, some coaches from some of the major manufacturers, and also some kit-built coaches. First of all, what I'm going to do is just introduce you to the couplings themselves, tell you a little bit about them. So here we have a brand new coupling straight out of the packet. Now the first thing I'd like to say is, I'll just get a little bit of an item to point with rather than my finger. The coupling itself, you've got a specially made little circlip rather than the common split pin that most people will be used to on a coupling. You've then got a washer, a spring and a washer. When you first get the coupling, if you get used to how it works, because as you can see there, it's very tight, and I'm not exaggerating that, but the more times you use it before you put it onto the model, the better it will become. There you go, you can see it's now starting to move. The reason this is because of the chemical blackening that's done on the metalwork in the factory. That soon starts to wear and it starts to move a lot better and a lot freer for people, as you can see. I think Ellis has also done a video on this if you would like to have a little look at it yourselves. So just get the coupling working, which is like it is now. We're only talking 2 or 3 times on each one, and then we're ready to fit. Now, ourselves, we obviously produce the Mark 1 coaches and the Thompson coaches. If you are purchasing it for a Thompson coach, you will need this small black mount. If you ask at the time of purchase, we can supply these for your Thompsons. And all you simply do is just remove the KD coupling that comes on the earlier built Thompsons and fit those straight away. If you are purchasing a maroon liveried Thompson, they will come straight from the factory fitted with Drophead couplings from now on. So you won't need to actually do this yourselves. But basically, all you then do is just fit it into the mount, 2 screws out, 2 screws back in. If you're fitting to the older Mark 1 coaches that we produced over the past 5 years, then I have had a special mount cast. And all you'll do on that is remove the KD, fit that into the end of the buffer mount, and just fit the coupling straight in. I'm going to go through how to fit these later on. Okay, what we're now going to talk about is the different ways of fitting the coupling bar into a buffer beam or coupling mounting plate. The first thing I want to say is the difference between this coupling and a KD. Most KDs that are fitted by modelers are fitted underneath the buffer beam, or they're cut through the buffer beam. These are fitted at the correct buffer beam height, which is from rail head to centre of buffer, and that is 24.4 millimeters. So for ease, call it 25 mil to centre. That is the centre of the hole that you would need to drill in a buffer beam to fit a coupling. So these would all be set at those heights. Now, the first thing I want to show you is, on this particular one, it appears to be fitted correctly. However, it's been set on the softest spring, which allows the coupling to wobble. That would cause some problems and may cause some couplings to undo themselves. The second one's on the same mount, but this time is a lot tighter. And basically, there are 3 separate positions for the pins to go through. The tools you'll need are a decent small set of pliers, a set of small tweezers, and if you've got them, it can help, are a set of tongs. But these ones are sort of like what they'd use in surgery, and they self-tighten. The first item we're going to remove is the circlip. Please remember the spring is under tension, so just get ready for it flying across the room. We're then going to push the spring down. This is where these do come in handy because they hold everything under tension nicely. and then we'll replace the little circlip. I'm also trying to do this so you can see watching this video rather than me being over the top of it. There you go, she's in now, and we'll just remove those. That's now tightened that up and made the tension very, very limited, which makes it also easier for when you're uncoupling and moving this downwards. So that now is in the downward position, ready to be put onto a screw coupling, or we're back up again, ready to be fastened back to a sister one, like so. So the movement there is only probably about 2 or 3 mil per side, whereas before it was probably about 4 or 5 mil per side. That still allows movement for going round radiuses, as you can see, between the two coaches, and they are now tight and fitted. The next thing I'm going to show is how to fit one of these mounts to one of our new Thompson coaches. So if you've got a Thompson that's a blood and custard or a teak liveried one, these will be fitted with KDs. All you need to do is remove the 2 screws here, like so. Please remember the KD will come into 4 parts then once you start to do it, so they will come apart as an item. So I'll remove the screws first and try to take it apart as easily as possible without it all coming to pieces. There we go, I'll pop that in the box there for putting back on later. As you can see, there are 4 holes. All you simply do is making sure you've put the coupling in the correct way around with the hook downwards, because we're working upside down at the moment. Place it in, it will fill the buffer beam up correctly, and then use the 2 screw holes to fasten them back up again. Just a little posi driver is all you need for this. And the same on the one at the other side. And then this coach is then fully fitted with its working Buckeyes, and it's as simple as that. Okay, the next coach we're going to go over is one of the very popular Dapol Mark I coaches. Now, the one we've got in stock here is a brake coach. I haven't picked it for any particular reason, but please bear in mind, I believe their brake coach comes with a screw coupling on the end. If you wanted to keep that, that's fine, no problem at all. But the benefits of fitting them with Buckeye couplings, with our Drophead couplings, is you would get the prototypical look and also practicality of being able to couple up to themselves any way that you need, and also onto a locomotive as required. If that's the case, you'll need to remove their lovely little screw coupling that they've fitted, but I'm sure you'll find a locomotive that you'll put it on, or a piece of other stock, so please remove it carefully. It looks like you just pull out that little brass pin and it'll just pull away. Put that in your spares box. I'm just going to turn the coach round, because the other end of the coach comes fitted with their version of a Buckeye coupling. Now, their coupling is fitted underneath the buffer beam, which is not the correct height. So if you're wanting to fit them to match up with theirs, you will have to manufacture your own mechanism. That's not something we do. We fit all our coaches at the correct height of just under 25 millimeters from rail height to center of buffer beam, which is prototypical, which is how these couplings are designed to work. So if you wanted it there, I'm sorry, you will have to fabricate something yourself. So once this has been removed, as we've said, it is cut off. The reason for that is to make sure that the coupling mechanism works correctly. As you can see, it will get into the way of the workings of that mechanism. The next thing that you'll need to do is to get a scalpel and just very lightly take about 1/4 to 1/2 millimeter off each side. And I am talking a fraction, until it's a lovely smooth fit. So don't go in there and start filing it out. It is a fraction. If you offer it up straight away, you'll notice straight away that it it almost fits, not quite, and that's all we're talking about. Then going to strip down our working Buckeye, ready, and I'll just show you. Make sure, once again, that we're putting the hook towards the roof because we're working upside down, and you can see now it just fits through nice. It's not interference, but it's not too floppy. Just move the coach around to try to get in a better position for yourself to see. The first thing that we're going to do is to fit one of the washers. Then we'll fit one of the spring itself. It can be a little bit fiddly, and I must say I'm used to working with my lights and probably being a little bit more over it than normal. Another thing that may be a little bit useful is I've just thought now for you guys to watch, is just remove the bogey out of the way. All I'm doing is just taking the screw out. It's not something I'm saying you've got to do, but it might just make life a little bit easier for us to see now. And all I'm going to do is just remove it and pull it back out of the way a little bit. We're not going to take it completely off, but it'll give a little bit more room for you guys to see the video, and also for me to keep my fingers out of the way compared to normal. And also I can get in like that to fit the items that are required. Once again, once it's in, push it right back, and then with the surgical pliers, just go in as tight as you can physically get it. Beauty of these is we can walk away, have a cup of tea, go change the radio station over, go onto the telephone because somebody's going to ring now, no doubt, at home. They always do. Now I'm trying to work here at an angle so you guys can see, and it's a little bit more awkward than I would do normally. There you go, she's in. We can remove that. That's it done. We can pop that back on now, screw that back home, nip that back up, and as you can see, she's now fitted with a working Buckeye in the downward position, as you can probably see there. Okay, now we've finished with the Thompson coach, what I thought I'd show you is how to fit a coupling mount to one of our Mark 1 mainline coaches. It's very similar to doing the Thompson. KD fitted. Remove the 2 screws once again from the rear. They're just posi drive self-tappers. Once again, the KD will come in pieces. With the KD removed, completely out of the way, the only parts that we need from the KD are the 2 screws. You notice underneath then we've got 6 little screw holes, and the ones that we're going to require are the ones nearest the buffer beam that haven't been used yet. That are these 2 that I'm pointing at now with the tweezers. The mount is available from ourselves. It's just a cast block that I've had cast up. If you ask when you place in an order, we will be able to fulfill and send some of these out to you. They just wiggle their way into the buffer beam, and you'll just line up the screw holes, and it's straightforward enough. Just pick up your screw straight in, and tighten them down. And that is as easy as it is to fit them to our mainline coaches. That's now done, fitted with its working drop heads. Okay, what we're now going to do for the final coach, I thought I'd put myself on the spot. I've picked a pre-owned brass kit built Mark 1 coach that's coming on one of our collections. It says underneath 1982 David J. Parkins, and I'm going to see what we can do with this to fit one. Okay, as I said, I'm going to put myself on the spot. This particular coach is fitted with screw couplings at both ends. I'm going to fit one of our working drop heads to one end. But I'm going to do it live. I've not prepped anything. I haven't even looked at the coach to see whether it's feasible. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the bogie out of the way, just because it gives us a little bit more play to get us fingers in. So we'll move that out of the way now. Next thing I'm going to do is remove the original screw coupling. Now these are the style that you're probably more used to on the split pins, etc. And because, like I said, I've not prepped it, the split pin itself is all bent. I've not bought a set of side cutters with me or anything deliberately. We're going to do it with minimum gear and just see if we can do it. Out she comes. Okay, so that's removed now, the coupling. Next thing we're going to look at is we're going to strip our new working Buckeye down like we've done before, remembering to make sure that before we start, the coupling has been worked and is flexible enough to do the job that we need it to do, so that the chemical has just come off it and it's a little bit more flexible. A couple of times, that's all we're going to do. There we go, look, it's starting to move now. Right, well, look, put her back into the lock position. On this one, oh, and I haven't stressed it like that, it actually goes straight through. So I've nothing to do. All I was thinking I may have had to do was just a tiny little bit of cleaning up there, or even a scalpel, even though it's brass, and just clean off some of the brass from either side. What I must stress on this, please don't drill a hole with a small pinch-up drill and expect to put that through, because it will turn 180 degrees or 360 degrees, and that's where you'll get problems. It needs to be a square peg in a square hole, so please take a little bit of time on that. So all we do, once again, don't get the mistake of doing the coupling the wrong way. Make sure the hook's facing upwards in this instance, and it's going to be very similar to doing the dapple one a few moments ago. So we'll put the spacing washer behind. Another thing I will say is, if you do feel that you're struggling because of space and you need some more spacing washers, I've found that 6BA washers there will work behind. So if you're struggling getting to one of these and you need to pack it out more, back up to the top one, just use some 6BA washers, which are available from Squires and places like that. This is going to be a little bit more fiddly because it's got some beam in the way. However, she's gone straight through, straight in. Just remove these and it's now fitted. All it's a matter of is bogie back on, job done, which we'll do. Now, the only thing I would say on this is, same again, we need to be at 24.5 millimeters from the rail head to the center of that coach. So the reason I'm saying this is, if these have been packed out like I sometimes see on pre-owned or kit-built coaches, if that distance isn't correct, then you're not going to get a proper working Buckeye with coaches that are produced by manufacturers such as Dapple, Helgen or ourselves, because they're at a set standard. So please make sure that is the correct height, which is the scale height. Okay, well, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. As you can see, we've fitted 4 sets of working drophead couplings from ourselves to 2 of our own coaches, one from Dapple and one from a totally random kit-built coach. And as you can see, they were relatively straightforward to fit. The main things I would say on fitting any of the couplings to any type of coach or wagon or tender is to make sure that the coupling is fitted tightly. By that I mean that the spring is really pushed up tight. it's not a slack dropping out. The reason for that is you will then get the drawbar pulling out and the coupling will drop down at the incorrect angle. So the main thing is, if that's the case, you probably, as I've said earlier on, need some 6BA washers just to act as spacers, because you can keep the same spring, but you can use them as packing spacers. If you've got any problems or any queries that you're not sure on, please give us a call here at Ellis Clark Trains, or drop us an email at Ellis Clark Trains, and either myself or one of my colleagues will be quite happy to give our little bit of advice on how they work. Tools that you require are pretty minimal, really. However, some kit built coaches may be a little bit more in depth with drilling and filing, but most ready to run coaches by ourselves, Dapple and Helgen, are just really a craft knife and just a little bit of cleaning up of a coupling mount hole. Other than that, thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll have some more short videos on how to do in the future. Thank you. Goodbye.